just found something interesting.
Oh!
It's doubly interesting because it looks like trebly. It looks like an interesting.
Yeah. Give us a wave. Come on, please. Yay! Hi everyone, today I'm here on the Thames foreshore with Tom Chivers, Mudlark friend and author of London Clay. Tom, thank you very much for joining me today. Are you looking forward to searching for some of London's history?
Yes, I am. I'm mostly just excited to be out here. It's a nice day. It's a really lovely bit of the river that I know quite well. If I find something that would be fantastic, there's a few things on my bucket list that you could find here. Maybe a Roman coin, maybe some medieval artifacts. But honestly, if I just find a button, as long as I've had a nice day, I'll be happy.
Right, let's go mudlarking.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
There's lots and lots of lead and little bits of metal here. Most of them seem to be plain, but I have just seen this piece here and it appears to have some lettering on it. And some kind of decoration, possibly a coat of arms there at the top. Is that a crown? Oh, this is exciting. I can't read it at the moment, so I'll have a closer look at home. But yeah, potentially very interesting indeed. The more I look at it, the more I see a crown there. Cool, cool.
The most amazing find, it's not a hammer coin, but it is an object. I think I know what it is. It's just down here. Can you see there?
Oh, that curly thing.
Yeah, it's like a little hook.
Oh yes.
I think for fur, a furrier's hook. Is that what it's called? So it would have been used to as a hook on very heavy, furry clothes. And I found quite a few down where I am in Rotherhithe because that's where the fur used to come in. That's where the fur trade was. So unusual to find one here, but yeah, it's a thing.
It's a thing. It's a find.
Yeah.
Oh, we've got a good 2 hours before the tide goes out. It's always that nice sense of anticipation, isn't there?
Yeah, there is. Yeah, it's a lovely feeling when you're early and you're working towards the tide. I've been thinking a lot about time in the river recently because it's a place where time seems to operate in slightly different ways. It slows down, or it stops, or it flies. There's a different kind of rhythm down here, and there's the rhythm of the water as well. And then all the objects we're finding, which have their own timelines. Some of them are 100 years old, some thousands, some millions. So it's quite an odd place to be, But you also have to keep your eye on the watch because we want to know when low tide is. Down here, I'm pretty sure I was just moving some of these little rocks out of the way, and I'm pretty sure I found a medieval annular buckle. Annular basically means round. So there it is. So shall I do the honours?
Yeah, do the honours. Good shout.
It's very blackened. It must have just been the mud.
Yes, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, that's lovely. It's a shoe buckle from the medieval period, which is my favourite period of history.
Yeah.
So, I've got quite a few of these already, so it's not a unique find for me, and they're quite common actually. But, I love them. I think they're really great. Yeah.
Fantastic find.
Yeah, happy with that. Woo. Yeah. Thanks for the woo.
It's just here, look. Let's see how much stem is going to be on here. Oh, out you come. Oh, it doesn't want to come out. Oh, here we go. Right. Out you come. Out you come. Oh, there we go. Very nice. And the last person who touched that was walking this earth in the early to mid 1700s. Look, just down here, we've got a lovely micraster, I think. I think that's a micraster, like a heart-shaped fossil, a heart-shaped echinoid. How are you getting on, Tom?
Yeah, not too bad. Had a few little bits and bobs. Musket ball, which I have probably about 100, so it's a common find.
Oh, just 100?
Yeah, something like that. This lovely little aglet.
Oh yeah, that's
so
nice.
you know the lace chape to the end of your shoelaces, or a little bit of lace.
Yeah.
Quite nice. Obviously not golden. And then this little bit of decorated pottery, which I think is probably medieval, late medieval. I'm always forgetting which kind of ware, which pottery industry is which in that period. But it looks familiar, and it's got that nice green, that like coppery green glaze on it.
Yeah,
so,
lovely.
Yeah, I'm thinking late medieval.
Well, I have a book, and I'm sure you do too, that will help with the identification of this.
Indeed.
Richard Emery's sherd.
Plug the Emery.
You look like you're going for a swim there.
Yeah, my boots are already wet.
What does this say on this stone? It's quite old, isn't it? Or is it more? It's like
more. Yeah, more.
It's like more.
Yeah. And do you know what? It's got the serifs here as well on the letters.
Yeah. Maybe that's quite old.
Yeah, I've never seen that before.
I mean, it would take quite a lot of work to chisel that in there, wouldn't it?
I wonder whether we can look up online whether there's more involved with this this jetty here.
Yeah.
I forget what this jetty used to. Was it wood? It was a timber jetty, wasn't it? Can you imagine if it's Moore's timber jetty?
Oh gosh, I just want to go and look it up now.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, that's so interesting. Yeah, and like you say, it's the old way of doing it with the little.
Yeah, so I'd say it's 19th century. I suppose somebody could have done that later, but
Yeah, maybe. Right, more. Let's see if we can find out who Moore was.
yeah, and maybe we'll get more and more finds.
Yes. Well, we can hope. I've just been having a little scrape here, and up popped a beautiful little garnet, look. Shall we do a garnet in the sun shot? Where's the sun? Oh, there it is. Oh, look at that. Just see that red gleaming through. What a treat.
Our old friend Staffordshire slipware.
Oh yeah, it's nothing like a nice piece of Staffordshire slipware.
Yeah, it's great, isn't it? I don't take these home because I've got so many bits, but I love finding them because of the colour.
Yes.
It's just so beautiful. It reminds me, well, obviously the Mr. Kipling, but it also reminds me of those beautiful lemon tarts that you get in France.
Oh yes,
You know,
with the chocolate on the top.
And, yeah, I'd like one of those right now, please.
Look, there's a little decorative piece of metal here. It's interesting. It's quite pretty. What else have we got? Oh, there's a 2p. Oh, I'm getting drenched knees. It's actually quite cooling.
Just found something interesting.
Oh!
It's doubly interesting because it looks like trebly, it looks like an interesting token.
Yeah.
I think it's pewter. Also, it's got a little hole in it, so it's been adapted, you know, to wear or something.
Yeah.
Thirdly, it seems to have concreted itself to something else.
Oh.
And I love objects that are hybrid conglomerates of stuff, because they seem to just capture the spirit of this place.
Yes.
So let's have a look
Oh.
down here. Look at this.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't that cool?
Yes, that is so cool.
And it's just become,
Oh,
it's inserted itself into
Oh
this
my-
rusting iron.
gosh. Let's have a little bit of a...
I don't think it's massively old. And it says, oh, it's got a date on it. It's got the date 1372, but that's
What?
not, no, sorry, 1872.
That's okay, 1872 is
We
pretty
will take
old.
that. It looks almost like a medallion, and on the back, I mean, that's so beautiful, isn't
Oh,
it?
what is it?
It's
What
got
is it?
like shields,
oh my
and
gosh.
it says something boat race. Boat race.
Boat race! We're going to be able to
Something
look up a
boat
boat race. That's so exciting,
Oh
Tom.
my god. Something boat race.
Oh,
Is that the
Shall I
Cockney rhyming slang?
something boat
Boat
race.
race face, isn't it? There we go.
Oh.
Wow, what an amazing thing.
So, it's
1872. To find something with a year on
something
it.
city, something SITY
Yeah.
boat race. And it's got even
University.
some... Oh, yes.
University boat
It's
race.
even got some tiny bits of lettering on the bottom.
Yeah.
That's a stellar find.
amazing?
That's absolutely
Wow.
amazing.
I'm so chuffed for that.
Oh, 1872.
Incredible. Incredible.
Oh, well done.
And that is something to really look up and
Yes.
find the history of.
Should we take a photo of it in situ?
Yeah, I'll do that as well. I mean, look, it's got to be university based.
Yeah, yeah.
And this, it says something to. It says something to something. Maybe it's like, yeah, Putney to. Where does it go? Mortlake. Putney to Mortlake.
Putney to Mortlake,
Yeah.
University boat race,
Yeah.
1872.
And these have got to be the crests. I should know because I went to Oxford. But these are the crests of Oxford and Cambridge, I would assume.
Oh my goodness.
And it would have been worn by somebody. Look at that.
Oh my goodness. That is
Souvenir.
just fantastic. There you are. You see, your persistence just paid off. There you are,
Yeah,
getting
yeah.
soaking wet, scraping
Absolutely.
away.
I mean, I don't mind that. It's all part of the
Oh,
part of the
can I have
job, isn't
another
it?
look?
Yeah.
That's absolutely lovely. Are you going to
gonna
try and will you
that.
try and detach it from the
I will.
From the lump.
The thing is that when it dries, it will probably
Yeah.
pop out anyway because when it's wet, it's contracted. But
Yes,
yes.
Putney to Mortlake.
and there's a little coin. Although that is just a 1p.
Oh my gosh, that's just absolutely
That is
delightful.
really cool, interesting find.
That is.
Just in
Ooh.
here.
Well, can I take a photo
Yeah,
of it? Are you going to
so-
take one too?
Yeah, I'll take one too.
So what's the next step, Tom? Are you going to research that? I know I am, but what do you do when you
Well,
find
I mean,
something?
who gets there first, won't it? Really. You know, I mean, yeah. I guess it'd be really interesting to find out. You know, what it is. I mean, it looks like a token that's been made into a something you might wear around your neck or something. It's just fascinating, you know, to think of people 150 years ago having kind of merchandise from the famous boat race.
Yes.
I feel like, oh, here comes a wave.
Oh, quick! Don't pick it up. Don't lose it.
And I'd say I don't find many 19th century tokens. I find a lot of post-medieval, medieval and post-medieval lead tokens, which tend to be a little bit more generic, don't have as much information. So to find something with this amount of information is just, I'm really, really pleased.
Okay, here's one for the bead fans. I'm going to grab it before it gets washed away. Ah! Tiny bead. Tiny yellow bead. Oh my goodness, my trowel's gonna go.
Oh God.
Have you lost any trowels, Tom?
I've lost the trowel and then I found it on the same day.
Did you? Oh well.
Yeah, like I've gone, I'm a bit OCD, you know, I can't just leave it. So I spent about half an hour searching the shingle that I've been walking over. It's very frustrating. I don't know if you can catch that in the light, but it's a little cloth seal. And I think there will be some kind of decoration on here.
Oh yes.
But I can't make it out. But what you can definitely see really clearly is here. This is the pattern that the fabric, that the cloth seal would have been around, has left on the soft lead.
Oops, we're finding ourselves knee deep in
Oh, here it
water.
comes.
Whoa. Yeah, can I
Yeah, of
have a
course.
little
Go
look?
for it. Yeah. That's what I want.
Oh yes, you can see where the cloth's been, can't you?
Yeah.
Yeah. There you go.
Thank you.
So Tom found himself a nice pin, and I can see a few nice ones here actually. I don't generally collect pins that much either, but look, that's quite nice. And oh, there's an even nicer one here. You can see that they were handmade. See the head of the pin there? Do you know what? Talking of pins, actually, there's a really nice one down here with a lovely large head. I'm definitely taking this one. Gosh, look at this one. That is a spectacular pin.
There's another little medieval buckle.
Oh yeah.
Little annular buckle, I think, or is it?
Oh, it looks like
I
it.
think it must be because it's got the little attachment.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm quite pleased I managed to spot that.
Eagle eyes. So many interesting little bits of metal.
Yes. I found a very interesting piece of metal down here actually, which was had some writing on it, but
Yeah.
in a kind of Gothic script. It was like a little string,
Yeah.
and it's been suggested that it might be an offcut from a ring.
Really?
But I've not been able to decipher the words, you know, and that's so often the case with stuff from the river, that it's fragmentary or there's
Yeah.
you can't quite get to the bottom of it. You have to be comfortable with that.
Got a nice kneeful then.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh well, send me. Have you got the piece
Yeah.
at home? Send me a picture of it.
It'd be great to know if anybody could actually decipher it,
Yes.
because I've tried, but I'm not a.
Yeah, send us a
Maybe
picture.
I should send it to what they call GCHQ. See if they can understand it.
And just down here, there is a little piece of lead with the number 9 on it. Or the number 6, depending on which way you look at it.
Quite a few little bits of lead things, including a lead, what's it called, a bag seal.
Yeah. Oh.
But then I also found this.
Oh.
It looks like
that's
it's a
nice.
rose, like a drawer handle, but,
Yeah.
the rose decoration.
That.
Quite nice. Morning. Yeah, I quite like that.
That
I'm
is-
sure it's of no great age, but
That's really pretty.
yeah, I like anything with a rose on it. It's that connection to the Rose Playhouse just over there.
Yeah, I found this, but I don't think it's very old either.
Oh,
It's
yeah,
just a,
lovely.
I don't know what it is.
Yay.
Just a stamped piece of
Yes.
metal
Yeah, it's pretty.
for whatever reason.
Yeah. I mean, maybe, you know, that was on like a, I don't know,
A box or something.
leather box. or
Could have
something.
been, yeah.
And this would be my little drawer.
So you got some little lead seals as well.
Yeah, I'm going to chuck that. There's nothing on it. This is just a nothing.
Yeah. Ah,
But
nice.
That one's got something on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the bag seal. Yeah, so I think, yeah, for me, Mudlark is not just about the objects we find. It's also about being in this incredible urban landscape. And you know, for me, what I think of when I'm here, when I'm somewhere like Southwark, is I think about what was here before London was here. So before, 2,000 years ago, before the Romans created this amazing city. What you would have had is a much, much broader river. The Thames, as we see it now, is highly embanked on both sides. But on the north bank, 2,000 years ago, you would have had this kind of ridge of high land, and that's where they built their city. But on the south bank, you've got a very different picture. This was marshland. You had little tidal creeks kind of wriggling between gravel islands. And the reason that the Romans built London Bridge where they did, whereas London Bridge over that way, the reason they built it over there is because that was a part of the marshlands of Southwark where you had these little gravel islands, and they acted almost like stepping stones. So they built a little bridge to the first island, then one to the next island, and then you had the main stone bridge of London Bridge. So really a lot of the kind of writing and the research that I've been doing over the years, including what's in my book London Clay, is to do with trying to strip back the kind of urban fabric and to understand our relations to the city based on geology, geography, that idea of deep time.
And then off he went, floating down the river.
And then off he went, yeah. We're here with the rhythms of the waves, but you know, you can't help but think about these much longer rhythms of time. You know, the warm and the cold periods, and the various different civilizations that have kind of rolled into town. And just over there, you know, that's the centre of Roman London. That's where the River Walbrook, freshwater stream running through the Roman city, came out, and you can still just about see it over there, coming through a Victorian storm drain. So, you know, this is a really kind of key site for understanding the deep history of London.
And you've kindly brought along some of your favourite finds.
Yes, I have, yeah. I brought just small things, partly because it's just easier, but also because I think there's something genuinely exciting about finding such tiny, tiny artefacts in this huge landscape. In the Thames foreshore, if you added it all together, both sides, all the way from, you know, from the barrier to Teddington Lock, it's something like, it's almost 200 hectares of land. It's a vast, vast landscape. So to find these things is always a joy. Shall I run through a couple of things?
Please, yes, please.
Okay, so first thing, and I found this just over there. So, and I was telling you earlier, I found it with my very oldest friend Chris. So I always remember the moment of discovery. This is a beautiful little pewter ring with a blue stone on it, glass stone. I think it's late medieval, although others have suggested it might be a little bit later than that. What I love about it is that it's been squashed up. It's been kind of screwed up deliberately. There's no way that could happen in, you know, through natural causes. Somebody has manipulated that and then either thrown it in the river or dropped it. So I wonder what the story is behind it. You know, could it be something that is that was worn around the neck as a pendant, or was it a, you know, a sign of the end of a relationship? So I do love that. Possibly as early as late 14th century, but the jury's still out. And this I also found just where we were mudlarking earlier today, and it's a 14th century, so we're talking the age of Geoffrey Chaucer and the Canterbury Tales. It's a buckle plate in really fantastic condition. So one of my favourite finds in terms of just the quality of the metalwork and the decoration. So would have had the leather going through the little bits of metal and then riveted onto the buckle. And a sort of similar thing in a sense as this. And this is a decorated, probably post-medieval, so maybe 16th or 17th century book clasp. I particularly love this because I'm a writer and I used to be a publisher as well, so I've been around books all my working life, and all my life actually, so I love books and reading, and so to find this on the foreshore is really special. And there's a possibility that it might have been thrown in during the Reformation. It could have been around a religious book that was banned during the English Reformation and the dissolution of the monasteries. You never know, so I love that. And then another kind of metal object which would have had some leather in it is this beautiful little person.
Gosh.
And it's an angel blowing a trumpet, and you can still see that it has some remnants of whatever it was around inside the metal. I'm pretty sure that it's a strap end, so it's the end of some kind of strap, like a girdle or a belt or something very, very fine, because it's so small. I can't think that it'd be anything else, but it hasn't been looked at yet by the museum, and they may have other thoughts. It has this loop at the top which makes you think it might be, you know, hanging from something, but I'm not so sure. I think it might be decorative. So yeah, it's one of my favourite finds that I don't know yet how old it is or what it is. Yeah, it's quite recent, a few months ago. Yeah, so I love the angel. So this, talking of scale, this is my smallest treasure. So I don't. Your videography skills are going to be tested here because it's so small. It's a paste stone, so it's made of glass, and these are quite common, and they were set within jewellery in the Georgian period and before. What's amazing about this one though is that it actually has a tiny engraving in the glass, and it appears to be the picture of a man sitting in a kind of bucolic setting with a tree, and I think he's drinking from possibly a kind of bottle that you found before, an onion bottle.
Oh, really?
Yeah. As I said, it's very, very hard to see, but I'll hold it as still as I can.
I'm going to take a close up in a short while.
So that is just, you know, every time I look at it, I just think, how on earth did I spot it, and how on earth did they make it so beautifully? So yeah, I love that one. So, you know, the thing with these finds is that we're often looking for things which are really, really old, really special. This is not that. It's a Victorian fly button. They're very common on the Thames, but they have the maker's mark on it. They have the tailor's name on it. And this one is quite extraordinary because it has the name Alvarez Mile End Road. And when I looked up Alvarez on Mile End Road, I found this tailor called Baruch Alvarez. And his story just led me down this complete rabbit hole about the Sephardic Jewish community in the East End of London. And the cemetery where many of his family members, the Alvarez family members, are buried is still there. It's the old Sephardic cemetery within Queen Mary University on the Mile End Road. Not only that, I discovered that his grandson, so the grandson of Baruch Alvarez the tailor, so we're talking like late 19th century here, is none other than the poet Al Alvarez. And as somebody myself who's been involved with poetry for years, to find that connection is just really special. And not only that, but Al Alvarez went to my school some decades before I did. So yeah, I love the way that even like a really modest object like this can just tell you this incredible story of connection.
Yes, that's brilliant. Brilliant, what a great story.
And then last but not least, because not all good finds are old, and also not all good finds are well made down the river, is this ring, which I found in Wapping. And this is a copper ring, which would have once been gilded. There are tiny fragments of gilding on it. And it's got these 3 blue stones, the centre of which is a sapphire from Sri Lanka, and the other 2 are spinels, so very similar to sapphires, also probably from Sri Lanka. And this is like a mystery ring, because when I found it and posted it on social media, nobody knew how old it was. There were so many different theories, you know, from Roman to 20th century, and I had it seen by a number of experts. And then eventually I took it to a woman called Lucinda Orr, who is a jewellery expert on the government's Treasure Committee. And she very kindly spent an hour with me inspecting the ring very carefully with various bits of technology. And what she suspects is that it's a ring that was made in the late 19th century in Afghanistan, or possibly Pakistan, a kind of northwest of the Indian subcontinent region. And what she also worked out is that it's really badly made. It's a very, very rubbish ring. You can see there the decorations are all skew with, the stones are skew with. In fact, the stones are pretty much the only good thing about it. So, you know, the story from that, you wonder about how far the objects or the materials within the ring have travelled, from Sri Lanka, Afghanistan, possibly along the Silk Road. And then you wonder about who may have been wearing it. You know, was it a sailor or, you know, somebody involved in the docks? Somebody probably not with a lot of money because it's not precious metal, but somebody who wanted it to look good because it was gilded. So it would have been shining on their finger.
Oh, thanks for showing us all these. They are absolutely
My pleasure.
Incredible.
My pleasure.
Is there anything you'd really love to find?
Yeah, I mean, I know it's a really obvious thing, but I would love to find a Roman coin. I haven't found any Roman coins in 4 years of mudlarking, so I'd love to find that. And to be honest, you know, today was amazing finding that university boat race token, because one of the things I think really sustains us as mudlarks isn't just collecting the kind of obvious finds like Roman coins or, you know, medieval buckles. It's also the things that are completely surprising, and they're not always very old. But it's about the stories that they tell, and just that moment of what on earth is that? That just it keeps coming back and back again and again.
Thanks so much, Tom. I can really identify with that. I know that it's that certainly keeps me going back time and time again to the Thames foreshore. And I'm sure it's the same for so many other mudlarks, and not just mudlarks, but metal detectorists, bottle diggers, anybody who's out there searching for history. And later on in this video, towards the end, you're going to have the opportunity to win a copy of Tom's book, London Clay, and so stay tuned for that. But before we look at some of the finds in that video, let me just ask you how you're doing. How has your week been? What have you been up to? Have you done something that you really enjoy doing? I hope that you're all really well, wherever you're watching from in the world. I've just got back from Detectival and I had a fantastic time. Sometimes I do love to get my metal detector out and just zone out in the fields. I didn't find my medieval gold posy ring that I was really hoping to find, but I did find some fantastic new friends. And if any of you are watching, any of you that I met during the weekend, then a huge hello to you and thank you so much for saying hello. It really was such a fun weekend and I can't wait to do it all again next year. So see you again in 2025. So let's have a look at some of the finds from the video. I think that Tom definitely won the day with his medallion commemorating the 1872 University boat race from Putney to Mortlake. But actually, it's not the only commemorative medal, because the little medallion that I found is also commemorating a historic event that took place in 1937. But what about the boat race? Well, the first boat race was held in 1829 when Cambridge challenged Oxford to the race. And the 1872 boat race is actually the 29th boat race and it was held on the 23rd of March. And it gradually became an annual event and each year the loser challenges the winner for a rematch. And actually that year in 1872, Cambridge won the race. But it was quite a particular race in that the weather was absolutely atrocious. Apparently it was raining, sleeting, there were gales and it was also snowing and it was freezing cold. And as it is such a popular race, apparently thousands upon thousands of Londoners lined the banks of the Thames and watched from bridges. It must have been quite an event that people wouldn't have forgotten about very, very easily. And in fact, I've managed to find a few articles in the newspaper about it, as well as some really good illustrations. But I'll read you a little piece from a newspaper article, which I've got just here. And it says, "It was felt by everybody that the day's pleasure was irretrievably marred, for even supposing that the sky should clear at the last moment, everything wore that aspect of desolation which only winter prolonged into spring can produce. The roads leading to Putney and Mortlake, as well as those on the Middlesex side of the river, were a mass of slush, and miserable enough looked the parties who in carriage, hansom, or vehicle of humbler pretensions were flocking to the banks of the Thames, having made up their minds to brave the worst. Of course, the spectators were fewer than for some years past, but the absolute number was still very large." So it seems as if, even though the weather was absolutely terrible, a good time was had. But having read some newspaper articles and seen those illustrations, I'm there in my imagination in the gales and the sleet and the snow and the freezing cold. And it must have been pretty tough, especially if you were actually competing in the race. And of course, there's the question of how did that little medal end up in the River Thames? I'm assuming that they were actually sold along the streets to people who were watching and that it's not a medal that was actually given to a winner or as a consolation prize to a loser. So maybe it was so cold that somebody bought it for their friend or for their child and their hands were so cold that they couldn't keep hold of it and it slipped into the River Thames, only to be found by Tom 150 or so years later. We will never know, but we can certainly use our imagination. But anyway, whatever the scenario, it's a fantastic find. So well done, Tom. I'm not in the slightest bit envious. So what about my find? This little medallion here, which is slightly nibbled around the edge. Well, this is actually also a commemorative medal, and it's commemorating the 1937 coronation of King George VI and Queen Elizabeth, the Queen Mother, on the 12th of May 1937. And interestingly, of course, it was supposed to be Edward VIII who was going to be crowned on the 12th of May, on that same date, but he abdicated, and so then King George VI ascended to the throne. And I do have a nice bit of very old footage of the coronation, so I'm going to play a little bit of that to you now.
England's Day of Days. Westminster Abbey is the setting for the show of the century as peers arrive for the coronation of King George VI. Members of the royal family come to play their roles in this glittering pageant, and the great crowd surging around the Abbey hail them with fervor. The carriage of state bring the Princess Royal and the Duchesses of Gloucester and of Kent. The big moment the crowd's been waiting for. The King and Queen leave Buckingham Palace on their way to the Abbey in the famous coach of state. The ornate golden carriage with its crystal windows, its colorful postilions, and its superb octet of matched gray horses. This coach, built in 1761, is the symbol of regal pomp and ceremony. For hour after hour, the crowds have waited to see this great pageant of empire, many of them for 15 or 18 hours. And now, their reward, the King and his beautiful Queen on their way to the coronation. The roar rises to a deafening din of cheers and exultant shouts of "Long live the King!" as the stagecoach nears the Abbey. And now, inside the Abbey comes the crowning of George VI. George VI, His Most Excellent Majesty, by the grace of God, of Great Britain, Ireland, and of the British dominions beyond the seas. King, Defender of the Faith, Emperor of India. 8,000 have crowded this old abbey to witness the ceremony that is as old as England's kings. The royal family, peers of the realm, foreign royalty, and all the nobility of Europe. Here are gathered dignitaries from far countries, from the reaches of the empire, all to swear fealty to a new sovereign. The coronation and this magnificent procession is one of the greatest displays ever presented. The show nears its end as the famous golden coach, with its escort of male lifeguards and others, enters Hyde Park. Called unexpectedly to the throne by a sudden twist of fate, George VI becomes the 40th British sovereign at the age of 41. With his happy family around him, he is today's man of destiny and arbiter of the destiny of 500 million people. Long may he reign.
Again, the question is, how did this end up in the River Thames? And I thought it was the case, but I had to check, and it is the case. I actually have another one exactly the same that I found a few years ago, and in fact I think I even did a video about it maybe about 6 years or so ago. And the one that I found 6 years ago actually has what looks like a little bullet mark in it. It looks as if somebody's actually used it as target practice. But it's interesting, isn't it, that two of these have ended up in the River Thames. Maybe there are a few more out there. I almost forgot, I wanted to mention the large slab of stone that we found with more on it. Well, I have done a little bit of research and I have found a few mentions of more along the River Thames, but I haven't really found out anything that is really worth telling you about. So if any of you can find out anything related to a jetty or a pier that might have belonged to more along the River Thames, particularly in the area of London Bridge or Southwark, then I would love to hear from you, because that more was very definitely put on that stone for a reason, and I'm sure that we'd all like to know why. Certainly I would, and I'm sure Tom would too. So I said there was going to be an opportunity to win a copy of Tom's book, and so now Tom is just going to tell us a little bit about his book and why he wrote it. Over to you, Tom.
It's all to do with that idea of the lost landscapes of London. So a really important part of that is actually thinking about the lost rivers. So the Thames is only the biggest river that runs through London. There are dozens of much smaller tributaries, and a lot of them were bricked over in the 19th century. So in my book, London Clay, Journeys in the Deep City, I go along these lost rivers and follow other kinds of pathways and look for geological clues. So all the chapters are in the form of like walking kind of meditations. And it's all about that amazing mix of history, archaeology, geography that we find down here on the foreshore as well. And I finished the book before I began mudlarking, and it feels like this is now a natural extension of what I was doing in London Clay. I was in London Clay, now I'm in Thames Mud. There's a hardback, a paperback, and there's even an audiobook if you can bear listening to this voice for 20 hours. These are two quite knackered copies of my book, hardback and paperback. So it came out a couple of years ago, London Clay, Journeys in the Deep City, all about London's lost landscapes. And it's got some lovely illustrations, and it's also got maps as well, so kind of maps with like geology and various things like that. And it'll take you to lots of different parts of London, bits of South London that you probably don't know about, bits of Bermondsey and Dulwich and Sydenham Woods, but also to places that you'll be very familiar with, like the City of London and Westminster and places like that. So yeah, that's London Clay.
And everyone out there, you could be lucky enough to have one too, because we're going to do a giveaway, aren't we? So I think the best thing to do is, if you would like to win a copy of Tom Chivers' book, London Clay, then in the comments below, say something that you've really enjoyed about this video and hashtag London Clay.
Amazing, and I will give you a copy that is not completely knackered and splattered with mud.
Do you think we might be able to get your autograph in there?
I think we can do that, yeah.
A signed copy.
Yeah.
Excellent.
In mud.
So if you'd like to win a copy of Tom's book, then please put a comment below, something that you've enjoyed about this video, followed by hashtag London Clay. And in a couple of weeks, I'll do a draw and we will find out who won. Good luck, everyone. So I think that's about it from me for now. And as always, I'd like to say thank you very much for watching this video. And thank you too for your comments, your emails, your IDs. I love hearing from you, so thank you very much for that. And thank you too for your donations to my Ko-fi and my Super Thanks. I appreciate each and every one of you. And I know I say that every week, but I really do mean it. And thank you for being yourselves. I'm really looking forward to being back very soon with another video. I'm working on the series of videos from my trip to Chicago. They will be coming out soon, I promise. And I'm also going to try and get my Detectival 2024 video out as soon as I can. So in the meantime, I'm sending you lots of love from here in London. Go and do something that you enjoy this coming week. Take care, and I'll see you again very soon. Bye-bye. Well, hello there. Who wants a nut? You're looking for a nut? Let's see what we can do. Oh, you can't come in. There you go.